Hello and Allahu Akbar, God is most glorious to all the people of the earth. My name is Abbas Tamuri. I'm the elder of Baha'u'llah in the earth, manifestation of His will, His Divine Majesty's will, things that He wants to say according to the text of Shoghi Effendi, in light of guidance under the title of the elders. He says that the future guardians are in the Baha'i Faith. They are manifesting the will of Baha'u'llah. I'm going to continue the two videos on the past, but very quickly answer that some people, they say to me that it was in Toronto, that how come now I'm teaming up with China and I'm against the Americans and this and that. That's not true. I'm a Baha'i, I am with Baha'u'llah, therefore I am with all the people of the earth. And my being with the people of the earth is based on science and logic. Therefore, anybody who helps the planet, that the people in the planets are in the play. Why Chinese is because the phase of the European phase of the evolution, which was the creations and development of the individuals and all this material civilization, is coming to an end. So the baton is falling in the hand of China, which are the society makers. This is something that a white man has not been able to create in a stabilized society. So Chinese are the second group in the planet evolution to create, according to the major plan of Baha'u'llah, to create a stable society as it is in China right now. I remember the movie Wizard of Oz. Oh God, I saw this movie a long time ago. And even then I knew this Dorothy, or the good people of the earth, and the Baha'is mainly, that they like to get to Kansas, which is Baha'u'llah, which is the Baha'i Faith, which is the truth. And then there are people with him. They're not really people. Like a tin man, doesn't have a heart, scarecrow, but doesn't have a brain, and the lion, who is not brave. They also want to get to the Kansas City to see the Wizard of Oz, maybe to help them to become brave, to have brain and to have heart. So as for Wizard of the Oz, I'm the Wizard of Cause, of God, and I'm trying to do that. Of course, as much as I can, being the only person on the planet that is single-handedly doing this, but no one in sight to come to help. Those who are trying to help me, it happens that they need a lot more help themselves. Going back to the topic, I have to, take back some of the stuff that I said on the past backtrack, we discussed that the entire material existence, it has to be contained like a product, like water, like milk, like food, like something tangible. It has to be contained into something. That the container cannot be the same as the material. Milk is different from the cup that holds the milk. So, and the whole material existence is contained into a void, a nothingness. However, we can detect this nothingness, we can see that there is nothing in it, albeit it's nothing, but still we can see it is there. There's no denying. You can throw your hat right into nothingness and it goes somewhere. But at the same time, this is what an edit to the past, to the last topic, is that by the same token, if you're thinking you can look for the design or soul or will or God or anything metaphysical in that void, is completely wrong. This is a vessel this void that contains matter only. No design is there. The design that we make as a human being to create anything, we generate it through our willpower, our thinking, design. Therefore, we are designer, which is a degree higher than the design itself. And the designer has come by the will of somebody who is yet bigger than the designer. They're not in void, not in a material void. That's a different type of nothingness. The word nothing could be as well as no things, as a realm of no things, but yet completely clearly existing. Because without a design, which is no thing, we cannot create and make and manifest anything that's in our brain develops, in our soul. This is important that we have to look into that and understand it. But many people said, all right, so okay, there's a willpower, made us and whatnot. So what is the use of all these talks? What is that going to do with us today? The only power that we can see that is guiding us through has been scientific method. And I discuss scientific method that people so much insisting it today because they're colorblind is only maybe 5% of our life. 90%, 95% of human being and humanity's problem cannot be solved by science because they're psychological, because they're nothing to do with the science. It's philosophy, it's about marriage, it's about raising kids. Those things are not scientific at all. We have to look at the statistic, we have to look at the past, we have to go through a trial and error to see what is right, what is wrong, what worked, what didn't work. None of it is scientific. It's a finding that's not scientific at all, but yet is the most important part of us. So we better understand what is beyond the matter and how is it relate to the matter and what's the use of it. And I said this message for the people in China because they're the most practical people about these things, and they are willing to listen, but you can't be talking poems to them, poetry. You have to bring some logical science. So the question comes finally, what is the role of God in this creation? And how is it related to us? What is the process in which these things happens and we could utilize it? For us as a human being, we cannot go further more than ourselves. That's what Baha'u'llah's recommendation is. Count yourself every day before you're being counted. So it is us. He says, study the Kitab al-Nafs, the book of self. Your book, who you are, then you will know everything. This story is old, it's nothing new. In Islam, God clearly says to the humanity, he says, Khalifatullah fil ars, means successors of God on the earth. That big is humanity. So we look in human being, we look at ourselves as a creator, we can see that we must design things by thinking and then use the material and create what we have. The whole process that has happened so far, it was created. The cause of all the creation of man and the earth has been his will. He wanted it, he willed it, he desired it. That's what will. The will struggled through trial and error and a lot of things, and start to think and design, and we're here. So we can see really there must be a realm of designs that's not matter yet exists, and we do it. And the design must come from a designer, and a designer is definitely a different realm of existence. And beyond the designer, what makes the designer to design it is his will. So it is the will of the designer who thinks and creates. Then we compare ourselves to the nature and we see planet Earth. We say, well, surely we have not made that. We're going to say, okay, maybe there are beings that are big, way bigger than us, 1 billion years ahead of us, which is not possible anyways. The world is, Big Bang started at one point. So at this junction of time, basically in the universe, the intelligent beings are not too far away from each other. They were as much as different as, shall we say, Canadians are to the people of Sahara. They are still people. They were as much different as the people of England that they came to Canada and saw the native people. Yeah, they were more advanced, but not that far. I can't believe that anything in the universe intelligent are so far away from us. I don't think so. They were not that far. We'll get to that later on. So when we compare ourselves with the one who made this planet Earth, we see he's a little bit different from us. Because when we design things, we can duplicate it because there's a design. I can use the design and make it again. I can make as many Toyotas as I want to. Same thing. But the nature does not have any repeat in it. Everything is dialectic, it's not mechanical. Things ever changing. There is no return. There is no repeat. You see, nothing redundant. Just every move is like a breathing thing, a breathing person. Every breath is different. So, therefore we say that whoever has made these flowers and trees, because they're all different, it surely shows there's no mass production here. Everything had a single moment of its own to be made. Then there must be a different designer who doesn't design really. Or he designed, there is a design behind it, but it's not by the thinking. This being must be instinct. And I searched on ourselves. I said, yeah, we instinctively can do intelligent things. Like the typists. They talk to you and they type and it's right. Or when you drive, you suddenly stop the car because you have to. That's not by thinking, it's an instinct. Because you have done this so much that your leg does not need to get message from the brain. Okay, it's the old file, it's like an app, it goes right on. Something like that in a very, very hugely advanced way must be involved. And that is bigger than all of us. It is the same willpower as us, but a willpower that is being trained in time or whatever in its reality that is way beyond us, that we cannot even comprehend how big that is. So, then when it comes to creation, all the creation takes time. It's an act. We already said God is beyond time, beyond being and nothing. How could this being was beyond thing and nothing even touch material? Even if it touches, if matter could feel it. So it's not like that. There is no action. There is no deed. There's no performance of creation. Creation in the Baha'i Faith, Baha'u'llah says, it is there. We can use the word creation. But bear in mind, that is not an action of God. It's an attribute of God. It's like the nature of God. God comes with creation. Baha'u'llah says in the Some Answered Questions. It's impossible to have a creator without creations. Whenever there was a creator, ultimate creation was with it. It's like a sun with the light. If there is a sun, always there is a radiance coming from it. Sun always comes with it. An apple comes with its shape, with its weight, with its taste. These are the essentiality of him. And as such is not, you cannot put a time in it, because time ends with the Big Bang. Beyond that is philosophy. Beyond that, matter and prime will are all pure. There's no time in there. So you cannot say there is an interaction between them. Because again, interaction is considered to be a verb. It's an action. It just seems that there must be something that is like a bright light, that like a spectrum, shall we say, two color comes at it, and these two colors are cross. The point of cross, if it is blue and yellow light, the point of cross is green. That's the creation. This is not something he does. This is something he is. It's what it is. And within this green, within these things that they are, at this point we look at it is green, but if we see sideways, we don't see no creation. Coming up front, we see there's a green. Just like the two beam of light, yellow and blue. You can see yellow and blue in one point, but if you turn around, you see, oh, they crossed each other and they became green. The entire universe and whatever is in it, it is because of that green, because of these things together. That is what the creation is. Now, how does will do this? How does this will of God does things? Will of God works through the intelligence. I was born by the will of God, which wasn't the will of my father and my mother, that they got interested in each other. At one particular moment of time and place, that moment is called Abbas. The second moment is somebody else. There's millions of possibilities. And that is how the will works. I came by the will of my mother and father, they came by the will of their mother and father, and they so on, so on, so on, till reaches to the first will, the prime will. In this way, we're all children of that being, with the intelligent beings. That's how its will works. And, as Bob explains, thanks to him, thanks to God that he was on the earth, and thanks to God that Baha'u'llah paid attention to earth and wanted to come. What did we do? We attracted him. It was our need, So, actually, Bob says, everything that is created in this universe, caused by the will, and because the will itself wanted to be out. So I was born because I wanted to be. The want of my mother and my father on that minute was me wanting to be out. Just like the poem that's tingling the mind of the poet. Write me down, because he wants to be out. Invention of an inventor, it's in his head. Getting pregnant with that thought. Design it, years comes, and he wants to come out. It seems will is a process like meiosis, like mitosis, like a cell division. It keeps dividing in everything. So when you create a glass of, this glass that I put here sometimes, let's drink the water. Is water, is not wine. This glass wanted to be. It was a thought, it was mind, it was in the will of the person. God separated the will, went to the second process, I explained this before, design, okay? It became a decision, then it became design, and then it was formulated and legislated. Everything in the universe is that. However, man is very different. Man has a soul which has its own design. It's like a software. And was the body, which is the hardware. Combination of these two allows myself, my will, to create things. Without it, I won't be nobody, nothing. It's like people are in a jail dark. You don't know who it is. It could be Einstein. But if it doesn't have the computer and doesn't have a pen, he cannot create, he cannot show, he cannot manifest it. So before we were born as a will separated, Baha'u'llah says, you don't remember. If you want, you could remember it. He says, I was with you when you wanted to come out. Yeah, from the great whatever grandfather. I was knew that will is coming out. Just like a grandfather knows his children are going to have a son. They're going to have a child. Same way that prime will knows. He says, I knew. And this is where your body and the soul is given to you. You seized it yourself in a way because you were in the darkness of nothingness. A willpower with no tool. Absolute zilch you were. Now you came. Now you have the body. Now you're here in this class of this world. Let's see what you're going to in this time that you have. What are you going to upload in your software? If it's garbage, when you die, all you have, your CD is full of garbage. Can be no use. And if it's a good stuff, the stuff that's in this world, well, yeah, in this world makes you happy. But if it is nothing have with the other world, you will be poor on that side. Donald Trump will be on welfare in the next life. Actually, he would be in a hospital to fix him. God knows what's his problem. But Bill Gates will be on welfare in the next life. Next existence. All these poor people in the world will all be rich. This work, they don't have money. Because if you have money, you will do wrong things. If you don't have money, it's prevented from you do the wrong things. So poverty, as Prophet Muhammad says, is my honor, he says. Because it doesn't allow me to do bad things. That's why God does not give directly in this way. But again, God gives meaning through the will, through that process that's happening. It's automatically in the nature. And it's not planned individually over things. People, the intelligent people, they have to decide. Okay? Yet he is the initiator. He's the one that from there everything comes right out. So, the whole game of this existence in this life, it seems to me that that big designer, that designed not by thinking, but by just willing to have something in his head. He desires to have tools that you can speak with. It's the right form. Because he's not in time. We're in time, we need time to appear it. It's not in time, it just comes right out. Instinctive for him. All of it. We are his nanotechnology in here on his behalf to change his nature the way he wants it done. Oh, man is a big thing. given time, if a man could live 1 billion years, he would reconfigure the entire existence into something else. But what we know as existence, believe me, is just the dust of bigger reality, material reality that we don't know. There are so many levels to this existence. All what we are in is in one page of it. Definitely there's a multiverse, not just universe. There is multiverse. And Abdul-Baha says the way this universe is, you can see it as an order, like an alphabet. Alphabet of existence is that the table of elements. So it started with 1, hydrogen, helium, 2, and goes on. In everything there is an order, there's a hierarchy, you see. And then they have an hendese, which means the shape. There's a shape involved. Okay, and these things are arranged. The scepter of this big wheel in the world, in this entire universe, seems to be gravity. But the scepter of gravity is organizing everything. By the worker of wind, fire, water, soil, and other things. He's shaping the mountain, the sea, the water, everything. That is workers in the nature. Nature is his factory. It makes things. But human being is his factory of making another human being. So therefore, will is not some God there, some thinking to do something. No. He's as aware as everything, as a grandfather is aware of all his children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and greater-grandchildren. Because he's so old, he just knows everyone. Everyone came from him. They're all related to him. So, so there's no creation as such. Then the process is really not evolution the way Darwin and others saying, but the Baha'i Faith tells us, yes, there is an evolution. Abdul-Baha says the beginning there should have been only one thing. That thing became other elements, and elements became molecules, and this and that and that. But they all came not through the natural selection. Nature cannot select. No natural anything can select. The only thing can select really is human being. Well, we haven't done this. We know that. Therefore, we have to do somebody higher than us did that. But it wasn't through natural selection. It is through the natural possibilities. That's how things get evolved. And these possibilities are simply infinite. If a man could copulate, mate, a young man at age 15 with 10 women in a day, imagine how many children could he have at age 60, 70. Beyond that. And if we go to the age longer, how many? They're all coming, you see. They're all possibilities. Things work within the possibilities. It is possible for 2 hydrogen to copulate with 1 oxygen because there are 6 electrons and there's 2 missing. So these 2 hydrogen, they go and complete the orbit of 8. This is a possibility. It's not a random thing. It is happening randomly, yes, but it's based on the designs and possibilities that exist. Things has to fall within the possibilities. Otherwise, it's impossible. If we get a little closer, at one point of time, let's say, in Venus, a very intelligent being, my conjecture, they were very small. They were white, very white, small white people. They had no hair, very small eyes. And in Mars, they were huge people. But both of those planets had a temporary life and duration for existence of intelligent being. Because one was getting too hot, the other one was getting too cold. Because the sun was removing all the atmosphere from Mars. The planet was small, the dynamo died. It could not. There was no whatever aurora borealis around it. It done. Therefore was stowed away from the sun rays. Plant became too cold. Everything evaporated. I'm going to get to it one day, someday, to you. They could have easily come down here because they did not evolve to the point to understand their spiritual reality. Martian could have gone to Siberia, and the Venusian could have come to China. 500 million years ago. They knew those planets are going down. They could make it, albeit a very small amount. They were not anything bigger than what we are. We are, in my opinion, combinations of these three planets. As the habitable zone, the combination has made the humanity here. The original humanity, in my opinion, were people in India only. And Chinese and Siberian white, whatever, they were not white anyways, color-wise. But we are like combinations. So things happens, the evolution in the Baha'i Faith, gradually, from simplicity to complexity. This event happens randomly, but within possibilities though. Just like a lottery tickets. The number that is winning in the lottery, it's a possibility. If there's no possibility, there's no chance of winning. There's a possibility. The combination can exist, has to exist in order to win. That's how the existence happens. And it seems that it just juggles by itself, Just by luck, Earth is here. And at that time was useless because Venus was thriving. The sun was very kind, to Venus. But sun became bigger and it started to evaporate all the water on Venus. They go through a greenhouse effect. Went up, but never came down. And I know that their moon was crashing with them. The moon of Venus was Mercury. Because Mercury is no crust. Because in contact, it wasn't an accident, it was like a contact, a friction between them that removed the whole surface of the crust of the Mercury. Mercury is no crust right now. But it made the Venus to go other way around. And people, they knew that it's happening. They went away. It's because Jupiter entered from somewhere within the solar system and was going right directed towards the sun. He banged a whole lot of things together. The moon of Venus, the moon of Mars was broken, and the other planet was forming, was broken. All those things happens. Because another giant entered after, which is the ring planet, doesn't come the name in my Saturn. As soon as it entered and its gravity pulled, that wasn't going towards the sun. It was just going other way and pulled the Jupiter away from its course. So it stopped. The Earth scientists, they said there's no water on it. It was all those big chunks flow on the Earth, became watery. And that was hot, this is too cold, and the Earth has started to thrive. And something else tomorrow can happen, and everything is going to randomly can go. This planet 100% will be destroyed because there's a possibility for it. Unless humanity reaches to a point that is ready for that day, they have, I know they will create humanity in about 1,000 years, less than that from now. Black hole, very amazing those days. They create the device, a black hole magnet out in the space. They actually make it. And they grab onto the Venus and bring it back out of the orbit and make it livable. Oh yeah, humanity is big. But the trick is this. The trick is to understand what Baha'u'llah is saying. Humanity is so screwed up. Oh my God. It's like a child that just keep eating. It does not understand this is not good for its tomorrow. That's it. Because matter is tangible, they see it. What Baha'u'llah says? He says, guys, willpower have to be united. One will can't do nothing. 30 million will gets together, creates Canada. It sent an arm to space. So mankind is hungry right now for order, for discipline. And that's what's in the hand of China. China is the creator of discipline, of order. They know how. But when we talk about unity like that, it does not go good with the freedom in the West. Baha'u'llah is completely against this freedom that is in the West. And so what's the freedom? People are free to go right into the field, free to be eaten by tigers. Rabbits are free to go there, what? To be killed? To be consumed? Majority of mankind have no power over the just minority. They will devour them. That's what they do in the West. So I talk against China and the freedom of humanity. Shut up. Go speak to people in Canada. Freedom for them is a simple thing that I have a job, good pay job, a wife, children that I can pay my bill and go in weekend and enjoy. So other freedom is irrelevant to me. I can't even think about it. And that's what all the people of China have it, in comparison with all the pressure they're coming from the West. And that's what the West has to understand. The trick behind the China is the formula Baha'u'llah they're following. This unity that they have, united wills, becomes big. That's why it is biggest force right now on the planet. Look at it, in 30 years, they are going turbocharged. You know, the entire humanity looks a turtle and they're like a rabbit and they go fast. In 30 years, from 1960, guys, 1950, look at that in 50 years where they have come from what they were. Who gonna stop this force? It goes on, and it has to play the big major plan of God to organize the planet. It is unfounded, stupid to criticize China. There is too many things we can learn from them. They're not aggressive. you see. An aggressive man is a person who's not sure about winning. So it's trust fast. China knows it wins. Two philosophical bases. Discipline and contentment. That's it. They win. But they are under the threat of another thing that comes. So I think I'm going to stop here because now we know how will works, how the creation works, and I got to get back to the subject of how to contact that big will. What does that will want us? He really wants us to evolve to a point that bypass the thinking and just instinctively do things and it becomes right. That is the highest possibility for a single individual that can get there. Imagine. Ask Bob. Bob says, I do not think. Come and see me, he says. In 6 hours, he says. With a pen. I go on the book. Without a stoppage. Without thinking. In 6 hours I reveal as big of a book as a Quran. No thinking, he says. Because it's the manifestation of God. He doesn't think. He just wills. He just feels a feeling that it's inside, that it wants to guide you. That automatically comes as your request. They requested him say an interpretation, a commentary over certain things. He looks at them and his pens would just go. Often he looks at them, maybe even converse with them as he was writing. And on his trials, one of these stupid thinker, they asked him, say a verse about this Cain, when he said something. They told him, repeat it again. He said, it can't. And they slapped his face, the guy. He thought he forgot what he says. He just didn't know what he was saying. Bob said, it will never be repeated. Because he's God, manifested in the body of human. And that's how God is. And he wants us to be like him. You can see in the Old Testament, it says God has created man like himself. Jesus says, I want you to become like me, that I am the Son of God, so as you become children of God. Islam says, you just follow me, and I will make you like I say be, it becomes, you can say be and becomes. But Baha'i Faith, it brings a practical way to get there. This is what Baha'i Faith is. Okay, time is 10:30. I spoke too long, too much. Goodbye. Good night.